Chicago, Chicago, a toddling town. Chicago, Chicago, I'll show you the town. I love it. Bet your bottom dollar you lose the blues in Chicago. Chicago, the town that Billy Sunday couldn't shut down. On State Street, that great street, I just want to say they do things that they don't do on Broadway. Say, you'll have the time of your life. I saw a man, he danced with his wife in Chicago, Chicago, my hometown.
Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. I want to invite you to an event taking place October 6th called the Chalk Art Festival for Healing, offered by the Trinity Lutheran Church of Inglewood Outreach Ministries. And it's going to be a wonderful event for the entire family, and it's to benefit the lives of people who have been affected by the opiate epidemic here. So mark your calendars, October 6th, the Chalk Art Festival for Healing. And for more information, you can call 937-771-0049. That's 937-771-0049. Coming up next, conversation with Gary Leitzell. Stay with us.
They do things that they don't do on Broadway.
Hi, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My guest is the former mayor of Dayton, Gary Leitzell. Good to have you on the show, Mayor.
Oh, thanks for having me
I'm
back.
still calling you Mayor, but...
Well, apparently I never lose the title, but
okay.
People do ask me, what should I call you? And I just say Gary. That never changes.
Yeah.
So.
It fits you well.
Right. Well, thank you.
Fits you well. So what have you been up to?
Well, let me tell you, I kind of stepped away from the political scene. I don't pay that much attention to it anymore because I don't know what is fact or fiction. You know, if you go to social media, there's so many different news sources that you have to double check and triple check to validate what's fact and fiction. So my wife, who had worked for Key Bank for 28 years, decided to retire in January, and but we're both too young to receive anything. She's taken some time off. She was watching a lot of HGTV.
Wow.
And turned to me and said, we can fix up houses, because I've renovated 3 of our own. And I said, sure. So that's what we did in July. We bought a house in our neighborhood, about 4 blocks from where we live, and we're in the process of fixing it up. I mean, we've taken a wall out between the kitchen and the dining room to open it up. We're getting it rewired. We're going to put in nice kitchen countertops, redoing the bathrooms and everything. And it's on a really good street where lots of kids play together, and families are really nice. So we're going to do that for a few years and improve our neighborhood and maybe some other ones around Dayton. We noticed that there is a market for move-in ready housing in Dayton.
Good quality housing.
And people want to live in Dayton. They don't want to necessarily pay $250,000 for a condo downtown. I mean, downtown housing is...
That's a lot.
It is, right? And some of the ones they've just been building are about almost $500,000.
Wow.
Right opposite from the old YMCA. They're really nice, and there's 3 floors, and some people don't want to go up and down stairs. So we're going to try to provide, you know, a neighborhood house with a yard and a garage, and a nice product. And the properties in our neighborhood are going in excess of 80. One sold for $119,000, I think.
Wow.
So we're going to try to hit that market and make a few bucks. And if we do a couple of those a year, we'll be happy, and we're improving our neighborhood. So
you can't lose that way, because I love the older houses. They have so much character to them, and it sort of saddens me when I see that they've torn down a house that could have just taken some elbow grease, some renovation.
Right.
In other cities, I see where they refurbish the houses, And I like that idea much better because there's a lot of workmanship that goes into these houses, structures.
Right, and you can't replace the wood anymore.
No.
I mean, a lot of that wood was, you know, the end of the virgin forests, no knots in the wood and stuff, and the floors can be brought back, and they're really nice. So, yeah, it's a shame, but there are still a lot of foreclosures out there, and a lot of properties are selling for about $30,000 to $40,000 that could be fixed up and improved, where people could make some money doing it if they know what they're doing.
Well, there are people who do make a living just in property management and flipping houses,
Right.
and there's a certain skill to that whole business, and truly it is an entrepreneurial kind of way of living.
Well, the wife is loving it because she reports to herself and me, you know, so she doesn't have a boss breathing down her
Okay,
neck.
so she reports to you.
No, I report to her, I think. In fact, she's there right now stripping wallpaper. So, yeah.
she has.
She has a role, yeah. She strips wallpaper. She takes plaster down, you know.
So she's a foreman supervisor.
Well,
then.
right. And
Okay.
I'm doing the dirty work up in the attic, pulling all the old insulation from the 1940s out and bagging it. I got to wear dust masks and stuff like that. So yeah, we get dirty, and yeah, it's
But there's
enjoyable.
a certain pride that comes with that, working on restoring a
Right.
house. A certain, you know, satisfaction when you see you've repaired a room or done something, and you know, with your own hands.
It's an art form in a sense.
It really
Right.
is.
It's creating something out of what was there. You know, my wife stands there and looks. We want to make this a feature wall. What can we do? You know, so we've been staining pallet wood, so we can put pallet wood up and stuff, and you know, to make it look different. You know, we're still going round and round. We were over there the other day chalking out where we want the kitchen counter stuff to go. She wants to put an island in, so we're out there marking where the
okay.
island can go and and how we can rig it up.
So you're putting in the modern day amenities, but keeping the house in the genre, in the style it was built, say
Right.
like around the.
It was the 1920s, this one. It's a 4-square house, but what we've done that will really wow people is we've opened up between the kitchen and the dining room. We've taken the wall out.
Oh, okay.
And so now it's a huge, I guess it's 24 feet by 14 or 15 foot
So
space.
you made the room larger.
Yeah, so the kitchen will still be the kitchen, but now it's open to a dining area.
Okay, combined.
Yeah, and then we've opened up the door from the living room to the kitchen a little wider so that it mirrors the opening that was from the living room to the dining room. So it's when you walk in, you can see a lot of the
You have that
first floor.
open space.
Right, which seems to be what people want these days.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
open space.
Right.
Do you find that many of the houses are still pretty structurally sound?
Oh yeah. This one has a few cracks that I've got to repair. But they don't leak that much. We had some heavy rain, and it was good to have the rain because it taught me where the leaks would be.
Oh, okay.
And where I thought they would be, they weren't. So so yeah, there's some porch repair. But again, one of the beautiful things about modern day age, the information age, is you can just get online, go to YouTube, and search how to repair this, and a whole bunch of people have done these videos promoting certain products and stuff that can be used. So no, I think it's fun, it's enjoyable. Hopefully we'll get it done this year. If not, we don't, so it's on the market early at the end of the year.
2019.
Yeah.
So the idea is buy low,
And sell high.
sell high,
Right.
and that difference, that margin, is what you
Right.
make.
Yeah. And we're going to put at least $30,000 into this house. I mean, so
Okay.
and that's, so we got it for like 36. We'll put 30 in, and hopefully we'll make 105, 110.
Okay.
So-
And a lot of people are doing that now.
Right.
A lot of people.
Right. And it falls under capital gains. So that's what I got to deal with now is capital gains. I got to keep
Capital gains.
keeping all those receipts of what it
Yes.
costs.
You have to keep all your receipts.
Right.
More with Gary Leitzell when we return. Stay with us.
You'll have the time of your life. I saw a man, he danced with his wife.
Hi, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. I'm back with the former mayor, Gary Leitzell. Thanks so much for being here. I always want to call you mayor for some reason, but one of the big things that I'm concerned about nowadays, and there's been so much in the media about it, is the opiate epidemic, and particularly in Dayton, and where we were right up there at the top.
Well, for overdoses, right?
Of that. So that's a really big concern of mine, and I don't know what's played a part in. I guess, it starts with people being maybe in physical pain, and then they go to a doctor, and the doctor prescribes medication for them, and then they somehow become addicted to that.
Well, I guess when I was mayor, I was bringing this to the attention of the city manager in 2013 that we had a problem. Okay, and I was proposing European models to solve it, but the statistics that I saw and what I was seeing happening, like my again talking about my wife, when we had our daughter, she had a C-section and they prescribed her OxyContin.
Oh.
Now my wife took one, felt drowsy, didn't like it. She never took them again anymore. But some people, they take them to ease the pain, and so they go back to the doctor. They still be in pain. The doctors, I believe, were kind of misled by the drug companies that these are opiates, but they won't be addictive because they're time release chemicals or whatever inside the pills. And so people were getting addicted to the OxyContin. And then when they couldn't get the doctor to prescribe anymore, you found some not so great doctors giving out prescriptions for money. You'd go and pay the doctor $10, he'd give you a prescription for OxyContin, you'd go get it.
But aren't they held to a code of
Yes, I'm sure, the Hippocratic Oath and the Code of Ethics, but if you have a gambling problem or a drug problem yourself, your ethics go out the window, right?
Okay.
Right. We actually had one in our neighborhood, a doctor, actually about a block from where I live, who was prescribing opiates to people. There would be a big line in the morning outside his office, and we reported it, and finally they shut him down. You'd have a line of people coming in, and they'd be leaving very quickly because he'd be giving them prescriptions. So these people would get addicted to the OxyContin, the opiates, and then when the government started clamping down on more restrictions on these drugs, people turned to the streets and started using heroin. And then, of course, heroin's addictive, and to ease the pain. And then the next thing you know, you have people hooked on heroin, and then the drug lords started adding fentanyl to it, and then a product called carfentanil, which is an elephant tranquilizer.
So it just grew out of hand.
Well, people started dying because their bodies couldn't handle the drugs. And so we had this epidemic where people were dying from fentanyl overdoses. In fact, most of the overdoses, the larger percent were as a result of there being fentanyl in the heroin. My proposal back then, no one ever does it. In Europe, they have a thing called heroin-assisted treatment, where they actually they've identified the people who will never ever recover. Suboxone hasn't worked, buprenorphine hasn't worked, and so they actually prescribe them heroin. I think they take away their driver's licenses, and so they show up at the clinic every morning, and they get a dose. At lunchtime, they give them some Suboxone, and at night they get a dose. And what happens is it stabilizes their lives, and they stop.
No more pain.
Well, it's not so much that. They don't take the drug to get high at that point. They're taking it so that they don't get dope sick. And I was talking to a former addict who said, dope sickness is like having the flu for 30 days, and you're throwing up, and it's just a miserable experience.
So your body is reacting to not having it in your system.
Right, and so these people, they're no longer, they're addicted to the heroin, but they're not addicted to the high. They don't want to go through withdrawal. And so heroin-assisted treatment identifies those people and gives them heroin. It stabilizes their lives. They no longer break into cars and houses to steal things to support their drug habit because they know.
So it's the drug habit that's gotten into their bodies that drive people to do things and commit crimes.
Right, they need money to buy drugs, right. But if you know that you're never going to get dope sick because of this program, you stop doing the crime, and now what happens is you can become a functioning addict and get a job because your life has been stabilized.
So when these people are coming to doctors to get their opiates, then the doctor should have a code of ethics and you try to get these people into some kind of rehab.
They do. This is, again, this is in Europe. This isn't happening in America, and I've been advocating that we should certainly do a test program here in Dayton. You know, go to the federal government and say we want to do a pilot program and test it, see if it works. But it's worked in other countries for 25 years. Yeah, they're going to a clinic where there are social workers saying, hey, you know, you've been coming here for a year. Do you want to like go down to 1 dose a day and try to get off this? Do you want to just try Suboxone? And you know, the trouble with Suboxone and buprenorphine is you're replacing one drug with another, and they get addicted to the Suboxone. They don't get the high. So, you know, I understand it's just a difficult drug to get off of, and a lot of people relapse and they go back on it. And
it reminds me so much of what Nancy Reagan said, just say no to drugs.
Right.
And don't even get started with it.
Well, what's the old commercial? They say nothing works faster than Anodin or something, so take nothing.
Yeah, don't get, you really do it with medications. When I am prescribed some kind of medication, I'll look at what the side effects are. And one medication said something about could be fatal.
Right.
I dropped that right away. I said, no, I am not taking this.
Right. Yeah, I don't even, I think I take ibuprofen once in a while. That's it.
That's it, yeah,
right.
Because you don't want too many. And when you start looking at medications and they say, well, could lead to this, could lead to that, side effect, ... And the list of side effects are so much greater than what benefit that you would get from it, that it's not even worth even going down that road,
right.
You know.
They have those commercials on television where they talk through that really fast.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You go, why would I take that?
I mean, if that's what, you know, if you're going to end up maybe an invalid or have a fatal reaction to something, why would you be taking it?
Right.
But we both are involved in a big event coming up on October 6th. It's called the Chalk Art Festival for Healing. And the proceeds from that festival is going to go to help build a mural here in Dayton. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that when we return. Stay with us.
They do things that they don't do on Broadway.
Hi, I'm William Pace, and I'm back talking with the former mayor of Dayton, Gary Leitzell. Before we went to break, we were talking, I mentioned that we both are involved in this big event coming up October 6th at the Northmont Plaza. The Trinity Church of Englewood, their outreach ministries, they're putting on a big event called the Chalk Art Festival for Healing, and which is really pretty big because in all my years in this area, I don't ever really remember a church taking on something like this, putting on a festival for healing. So I want to, I'm emceeing that program that day, and I would love for you all to come out. It's October 6th from 10 to 5 p.m., and it's called the Chalk Art Festival for Healing. And for more information on that, you can call Trinity Church at 937-771-0049. That number again is 937-771-0049. And the event will be at the Northmont Plaza, and Trinity Church is located at 606 Taywood Road in Englewood, Ohio. And tell us a little bit. I know one of the recipients from the funds that come into the festival will go to the Mosaic Institute of Dayton, and because they're going to be building, is it a big mural?
Yeah,
a big wall or something?
We have an artist here in Dayton named Jess McMillan, who has a 501c3 organization called the Mosaic Institute of Greater Dayton. In fact, their website is midayton.org. I'm on it right here.
Okay.
And she's done lots of murals for companies and jurisdictions, big wall murals and stuff using glass and tiles and things. They're quite impressive. And she wants to build a mosaic wall somewhere in East Dayton for victims of the who have lost loved ones, of the opioid epidemic, to put a tile on the wall in memory. Now, I don't know fully what her plan is, whether it's going to be a free wall of just tiles everywhere, or if it's going to form a pattern or a design.
Okay.
And so she went to an organization called Dayton, which is an organization here in Dayton of young professionals who work collectively together in the community to attract more young professionals to the community, and presented this idea of doing this wall of perseverance, is what she's calling it. And they loved the idea, and they've given her like $3,000 seed money.
Wow.
To get the project started, and they are going to provide volunteers to help. So the last time I talked to Jess, they were looking for a suitable location where they could do this that wasn't going to create a problem that they're trying to solve. They didn't want a wall where people could hide behind and take their heroin, or
a secure place.
They want a secure place, yes, and they do want it in East Dayton, where there has been a lot of overdoses and a lot of response to emergencies and stuff, so that families can go and they just they can remember a loved one by putting a tile on this wall. And it's not, they're not going to have names on the tiles. She said they could write it on the back and put it on the wall. You know what I mean? They could, so someone can say, that's our tile, but it's not going to recognize the victims in the mosaic. So it's something that she has to work with Dayton on, because they are helping fund it, and these people are going to want to have some kind of say. And then she's going to have to get permission from the city to do it, depending on whether the wall is on a public right-of-way or if it's on private property or whatever. But she also runs an art studio called Krohn Studio Market, and I think that website is Krohn Studios with an S market.com, where there are other artists, local artists that display what they do. And I mean, it's amazing. In the art in Dayton, you got people who do woodwork, people who do paintings with different types of materials. Mike Elsass uses metal as his canvas instead of canvas and stuff. So
very creative.
Right, yeah. So they're in an area, it's right off of East First Street, and you can...
down in the Front Street area.
It's in the Front Street
where
area.
all the warehouses are...
full of artists.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, we have this whole... And they want to call that the Art District.
Okay.
In fact, they just got the bridge painted over... I think it's First Street. They got some bird heads painted. They had to get permission to do that because they had to block the road off. I think your chalk art festival for healing is good, because you're using art to bring people together. And what's interesting now, what's happening in Dayton, back when I was mayor, and I'm trying to think if it was 2011, 2012, I wrote an article for the city paper about graffiti. Should we erase it or embrace it? And I got a bunch of graffiti artists. They're not really graffiti artists. They are spray can muralists, to come together, and they spray painted the wall at PNC 2nd Street Market. And it was an interesting experience, because I went to the zoning guy, and he said, "Oh, there's no legal graffiti walls in Dayton. You'd have to get permission to put a mural up." I said, "Well, what if I don't know what I want to put up?" He goes, "Then it's graffiti." And I said, "Well, it's only graffiti if someone complains about it, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, I guess." So I said, "Okay, so we'll do the wall, and if someone complains, I'll show up with a big barrel of gray paint, and I'll paint it out, because a gray wall looks better than the concrete wall that was there." Well, no one complained. The guy that I went to, his name was Chris Wayrich. He goes by the tag Etch, and when he was a young man, he did all those little yellow birdies around town and blue beavers and stuff. He's a cool guy. He put his phone number down at the bottom of the wall mural. And so I was able to take somebody from city staff there. She wrote the number down. They called him, and they had him start doing the boards that were put over city buildings downtown. They had him paint murals on them so they didn't look so bad. And then he ultimately teamed up with a woman named Tiffany Clark. They've created a business called the Mural Machine, and they are getting commissions. I ran into him yesterday at the Dollar Tree and was talking, and they're teaching kids how to paint and stuff. And they're doing stuff all around town now. You'll see, I think, what Tiffany's working on, because I've seen her sitting there painting on Kiowee Street under the bridge. I don't know if it's 3rd Street, I think it is. There's a boy on a bicycle, and all his newspapers are flying down the road. And
love it.
she's filling in all the newspapers with art and writing and stuff. And this stuff wasn't happening back in 2010. We got it started happening when I got the wall done, and he started doing stuff. And now we're seeing the fruits of that article and that movement to say, hey, Dayton can be a really cool city, on par with places like Toronto, if you've been to Toronto, where this stuff is everywhere and it's beautiful. So we're starting to see it, and it's kind of cool to see that happening. It's art. It is art. As long as it's not black on white and a tag, that's tagging and vandalism. But if you can create color and an art form, it's much more acceptable.
Wonderful. Well, I'd like to thank you for being on the show today, and I always look forward to having you on the show. And I'll see you there on October 6th at the Chalk Art Festival for Healing, presented by the Trinity Church Outreach Ministry in Inglewood. There's more to come on the William Pace Show. Stay with us.
You'll have the time of your life. I saw a man, he danced with his wife.
Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. I want to remind you about the big event coming up on October the 6th. It's called the Chalk Art Festival for Healing, and I will be the master of ceremonies for the event. And I would like for you all to come out and bring your families. It's going to help a lot of people whose lives have been affected by the opiate epidemic here in Montgomery County. So mark your calendars, October the 6th, 10 to 5 p.m. at the Northmont Plaza Shopping Center. And for more information, you can call 937-771-0049. That number is 937-771-0049. Gotta go. I'll see you next time. Take care.
That's great.